What happens when centuries collide in a single breath of time? When the clocks of empire and the calendars of ancients suddenly synchronize, not by decree, but by destiny. This is that moment. A once-in-history convergence that will never repeat. The question is not if we are ready, but how boldly we will step through. Welcome to the Tapestry of History, uniting past, present, and future.
Tune in with the Galactic Spin Podcast and expand your view.
In Lakesh, and greetings to everyone out there tuning in. Welcome to the Galactic Spin Podcast. My name is Mikuak Rai, Kin 126, joined by my brother, Rubén Llinás, Kin 113. In Lakesh, brother Rubén, how you doing, man?
In Lakesh, brother Makua, and in Lakesh also to everyone tuning into this episode 46 to the Galactic Spin. Again, very honored to be here like every 7 days on our 46th episode. We only have 7 to go. So we are preparing a special bundle for these last 7 episodes. And it's going to be an amazing journey.
Indeed it is, and the time is so auspicious. As you mentioned, we have 7 episodes left to go in this 52 episode journey, ceremony, intention. You're the solar tone of intention. I'm the solar tone of intention. So we're amplifying each other's intention all this time, and also the intentions of others out there who are tuning in and been joining along in this transmission. Shout out to those in the live chat on YouTube, as well as people tapping in with us on our Facebook page. I want to invite people to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel at the Harmonic Factor right now. If you haven't already, we appreciate the support. And just help us get this message out there further. These next 7 episodes, 7 heptads, are very, very significant. And we're going to get a chance, I think, tonight to really remind ourselves of what we set out to do by making this golden intersection of timelines conscious to begin with. And so I know you're going to talk a little bit more deeply about that. And let's share that theme, though. I think this feels like a great time to do that in terms of sharing with people this focus over these next 7 episodes. This is a general focus, but go ahead and speak about this.
Yes, well, we were thinking about how to make these last 7 episodes to the golden intersection like a special path that will enable us to really comprehend the full multidimensional spectrum of the golden intersection. And because this is not really just about calendars and time, there is an aspect of history, an aspect of sacred mathematics, an aspect of spirituality, a scientific aspect, and its relevance in culture, in synchronicity, and finally the call to collective action. And we this is an outline that we drafted as a guideline to really go deep into all these areas of human interest and human endeavor that are what makes this golden intersection so special, because it really taps into different aspects of our human experience, and we want to honor that and focus on each of those areas of interest for humanity to get the full picture of what this is. That's why we use the spectrum of the rainbow to code them, and we are hoping that we can really bring a summary uh, the fullness of this event that is never going to repeat again, and set the tone with these 7 episodes for what may take place in at the end of the middle of October and at the end of the year when we complete the 13 solar orbits, because remember that the golden intersection of October 14 and 15, 2025 marks the start of an arc of 68 days to December 21st, 2012, Kin 12, Crystal Human, when we will complete the 13 solar orbits. So we will be making that shift from completing 13 tunes, cycles of 360 days, to completing the 13 solar orbits. And this is promising. As far as we have seen this year, lots has happened, and from here to the summer solstice in the southern hemisphere, winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, December 21st, 2025, we may see a lot happening. And we want to make sure that during these 7 episodes we capture the fullness of what is transpiring.
It's really profound just to track as we're doing and just to pay attention and observe. Really, I feel our task now is to really be observant of ourselves, but certainly of the world around us and of this moment. It's an important moment. As you said, this will never happen again. It's never happened before. It will never happen again in this particular way. So it's such a serendipitous. It's really quite something. So we are grateful to be able to invite people to observe this together around the world. And I want to send a special shout out to others in the chat. I want to big up Ishel for that powerful opening transmission, and to Delia Sky for those beautiful tones, the Arctara tones that we always weave in the completion of each of those transmissions. Great and beautiful work, you all. And also to you and Alejandra, frankly, for what you've been doing in terms of creating the container for these final 7 episodes of this leg of the journey. Because we know at that point we'll be convening together in Palenque, and we'll be encouraging people around the world, wherever you are, to be tapping into the field together, the energetic field together. We encourage people to go and get into nature, get near the waters, go into someplace sacred to you, get into your heart, get into your breath, get down into your belly with your breath and make that connection. And just know that we are in a unified field. It's just for us to observe it. As we observe it, we will experience it. And so that's what we're really inviting for people to do. No matter what your worldview may be, this is a universal opportunity in this golden intersection of timelines. And it's literally woven. The numbers don't lie, as we say. They clearly indicate the synchrony of multiple timelines being woven with the very golden ratio. As
Yes,
we've
and
been.
we keep receiving more and more synchronicities and confirmations that reaffirm the unique nature of this moment. And we knew it 7 years ago when the date was revealed by synchronicity, also on the on October 4th, 2018, right when we were marking the end of the Julian count, this was discovered, and since then it's been just unpacking more and more layers of harmony and meaning. And that's
Yeah.
what we want to explore during those 7 last episodes. We are also aiming to creating probably not such a detailed uh, version of this podcast, but at least we are going to prepare some short videos with each of these aspects in Spanish, so that our audience can also, those people who are have been also paying attention here in Central America and South America, and of course in Spain, that they can have also a little synthesis of everything that we have been covering, which is basically the focus of these next 7 episodes, just to really place our attention in that multi-dimensional nature of the golden intersection.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you, brother, for all that you do and all you all have been anchoring there in Mexico and building the bridge in relation with our communities there as well as we near this moment. So let's get into it. Let's tap in with the Earth's pulse and explore more. Thanks for everybody tuning in.
And this is from today. Actually, both news that we have today are really fresh. One is that we have an aurora. We may have an aurora displays right now in the U.S. According to NOAA, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration in the United States. The northern lights could illuminate sky overnight on August 18, 19, thanks to a moving stream of solar wind that may spark geomagnetic storm conditions. It seems like we are going to have a geomagnetic one, which is a mild, soft ball, really, of, of a geomagnetic storm. But just a heads up for anyone tonight, the dreams, also pay attention to your body, drink a lot of water. Those are always good steps to take. And the auroras may be visible from Alaska to Iowa, according to this article. So if you are in those latitudes, the people that are checking in right now, just we really hope that you can catch a little glimpse of the northern lights. According to this diagram, it's pretty well. It's going to be pretty low, and we may have this lasting until tomorrow. So this is just one like piece of the news, but what is really taking now the headlines is this. For some reason, there is the Guardian article doesn't show up here, but the title of this article was saying that scientists are really excited about this interstellar object that is approaching the Earth, and is supposed to reach its closest distance by the end of October or beginning of November, which is basically just a couple of weeks after the golden intersection. And the name of this interstellar object is 3I Atlas. The I is for the interstellar, and the 3 is because this is the third interstellar object of its kind. That means that it's not from the solar system, it's an object that is coming from outside the solar system. And what we see on the right is a picture taken by the Gemini North telescope. And we can see this, it was taken with different filters. And according to the image, we can see that trail that looks like a rainbow um, stripe of lights, which is really the object moving through interstellar space. It hasn't arrived to the solar system yet, but there is a lot of speculation online about the nature of this object. Like we mentioned probably 3 episodes ago, there is a professor from Harvard that is implying that this object may be an alien spaceship, and this may be used to generate different narratives online and create some drama. But we are just observing it from with curiosity and paying attention to the timing of it, because of course the fact that is so close to the golden intersection is an aspect of this visitor that we are really observing with close attention. And this is also well, an opportunity to really look up to the skies and see everything that is going on, because from here to there we will probably see more unique events happening. We don't want to speculate, of course, but there is a lot of movement on the ground and in the geopolitical arena. Of course, we all know that there was a summit today in Washington, D.C. with the leaders of Europe. They are discussing the next steps to arrive to peace in Ukraine, and also there's a lot of peaceful demonstrations in Israel asking for the end of the war. So we hope and we trust that everything that is happening here on the ground, it's going to be decisive for humanity in the next weeks, just before the UN General Assembly, the 80th version. A lot may happen, because everything seems to be pointing to that window of the equinox to come to a boiling point, or a decisive point in terms of arriving to a peace deal in both parts, and maybe entering a new stage on planet Earth. We will see.
Well, we will certainly be observing. We will be seeing together
Yes.
as we witness this next phase. You know, it's interesting. We talk about fractal time compression, and I can't help but feel the compression of these next 7 heptad leading to this golden intersection. You know, and some of you may or may not know, we've been tracking this marker, this threshold moment, for 1,440 days, like intentionally. Do you recall what the exact date in the Gregorian calendar was when we published that Medium article announcing that countdown?
I think it was November 4th. I remember that we posted for the completion of 8 tunes from December 21st, 2012, and I think the date was November 4th of 2021. So it's almost 4 years, and we actually kind of in other blogs we also include references to it, but that was the first time that we really explained what it was and what is the message that it's bringing to us, because as we were discussing before, there is a multi-dimensional nature for this event, and there are so many ways to interpret it. We are already seeing some groups in Argentina that are taking it as the activation of Christ consciousness. That's an interpretation, and people are going to be meditating and joining in ceremony to bring that Christ consciousness in, that anchoring of the grid. So that's an interesting way of looking at it, and also let's be creative. This is really a moment of harmony. We can the idea of our meeting in Palenque is really as a life celebration. So everyone
That's right.
is invited, and despite the different interpretations that we may or may have from this event, what we can assure is that there is a higher order operating behind this synchronization that baffles any scientific explanation, really, because having the golden ratio coordinating so many aspects of different calendars at the same time and converging in that point is something really, really unique and special, and the idea is that we want to honor that fingerprint of God, that little glimpse of the infinite order in the universe by creating art. Really, harmony is the signature in nature, and we want to just enter into resonance with that harmony that the numbers are showing.
Beautifully, beautifully said. So we invite people to visit theharmonicfactor.com, and you can find the Golden Intersection tab up in the menu on the top or in the drop down on your mobile device, and visit the website and learn more, and even consider joining us in Palenque. And again, wherever you are, tap in. Let's tap in together, because it's a unified field. So in the spirit of that, let's go ahead and sink in and tune up. Yes, yes, yes. Navigating this yellow resonant seed year. Woo. 4 heptads in on this gamma day. Gamma 24 is where we find ourselves in this NS 138. And what a powerful frequency and flow is emerging. I mean, obviously, those who are tapping into natural time are feeling that. They're observing that, witnessing, experiencing this. We see that these codes are ways through which numbers express and through which our purpose expresses. So when we begin to see ourselves in the codes, it's such a beautiful kaleidoscope of synchronicity. So with that said, we're so grateful to be in this new cycle. And we know also we're wrapping this magnetic moon, as it's called, this first moon of the magnetic tone, as it were, of purpose.
Yes, and let's remember that this is a holographic time container for the entire year. What we are seeing now on the screen, where each unit of this wave spell corresponds to one moon, and according to this fractal count, this entire magnetic moon is coded by Kin 105, the red magnetic serpent. Therefore, this entire year is corresponding to the theme for this entire year is how to make the best use of our life force, how to survive the 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 intensity of the events that are transpiring with our life force intact, and how to follow our instinct and to discern everything that is in our path. Because this is, even though we are the year of the storm just ended, we are still in that coming out of that storm. And let's remember that according to the fractal count of years, this would be the year of the blue cosmic storm, kin 39. If we count the amount of years of the new dispensation of time as one kin, we will arrive to that. So there is a combination of factors that make of this year a special one, and in this case, the other intensity aspect is the fact that this is we have 10 moons that are galactic activation portals, signaled here with bright green. Starting the next moon, we will have that means in our next episode we will be in a galactic activation portal moon, which corresponds to Kim 106, the white lunar world bridger, the second Kim on this wave spell of the serpent. And this is also the first wave spell of 13 moons of a cycle of 52 moons that is called a castle of moons, which is what we see at the center. Next year would be the mirror wave spell 2026 to 2027. The next year would be the monkey wave spell 2027 to 2028, and we will close this cycle of 52 moons in the year 2029 with the seed wave spell, which is the one that we are navigating now as we speak. So basically, this entire wave spell is a little fractal of that entire year 2028 to 2029, and who knows what is going to be happening on Earth by then. But of course, focusing the energy on these fractal layers really allows us to gain a deeper comprehension of what is happening, and why there are certain events that keep showing repeating patterns, and of course the fact that we are actually right now navigating the galactic activation portal omega run.
Exactly. It's that overlay, right? It's that parallel or fractal sort of the time compression. But here we are, as you mentioned, in that now, knowing that it's going to be coming up in the near future. So perhaps right now, being aware of those qualities, we can activate them within ourselves, within our own psyche, our own field of influence, our own field of expression, so that we can begin to work the codes. It's one thing to have a consciousness of the codes. It's good to be aware of them. But then the thing is, these codes are living, they're vibrations, they're frequencies. So how we actually allow them to be embodied matters. And so when we can surf these waves by recognizing these numbers, we can actually track a whole other frequency, a harmonious frequency, and participate. It's a collaboration, in a sense, with nature itself, really, because everything is coded. And in that Zolkin, the beautiful thing is all of those 100 or those 260 kin are necessary. They're all part of the tapestry. The tapestry would not be complete if any one of them were missing. So when we're invited to go in by way of our own signature, we really, really tap in to the purpose and the nature of these codes, of all of these factors we like to call the harmonic factor. But how they're all encoded within that 13 Baktun fractal. We look at that, we look at the Zolkin, we begin to see the lay out of it. And we know right now we're in the resonance. We're in the resonance seed year. We're in the seed wave spell, as you mentioned. We're the second day in that omega run today. So we can project almost how we want this to influence the future moment when actually we're moving through that at another fractal scale. So it's just one of the ways to work with these and play with the codes, have fun. Like it's actually a joy to be aware of them. And then you can really truly live your authentic self when you tap into what your unique coding is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and especially because we are not really used to perceive fractally. And when we really start to see the hologram repeating at larger scales and smaller scales, then everything becomes like our perceptions of time become really cohesive and really sharp, because we start to read different levels of the synchronic order and perceive the beauty of how these nested cycles work within each other, because the entire system is so harmonious that when we combine different layers of the time units, being 1 year, one moon, one kin, or one heptad also, we find beautiful aspects, and this entire moon, as we can see on the next slide, has one of those aspects, because right now, as we speak, we are navigating the heptad coded by kin 160, which happens to be the golden ratio of a fractal module of 260 heptads. Let's remember, one heptad is 1 week. This is the real name for a cycle of 7 days. And we have, in 5 years, we have precisely 260 heptads. So every 5 years, we complete one solkins of weeks, basically, or heptads. And right now, we are right at the golden section of that period of 5 years. And this week, or this heptad, which has is called by kin 160, as we can see, we are also approaching the kin 160 on the Solkin count. It will be the last day of this harmonic run in exactly 13 days. So the cycle of the seed that we are now navigating, kin 144 to kin 156, started, as we can see here, on day 21 of this magnetic moon, and it will close on the first heptad of the lunar moon. We can see on the next slide. First, we can see the golden section of the Solkin on kin 160 and kin 161, which corresponds to 4 Sun and 5 Dragon. And this is going to be for any fractal of the count. We can use this same infographic to showcase 260 weeks, 260 years, 260 moons, and always number 160 is going to occupy the golden section with kin 161. That's the point where the two meet, the two sections meet, the two golden sections of the 13 module, 13 unit module. In this case, we have 13 columns of the Solkin matrix, of the 1320 matrix. And when we finish the 8th column, that's always the golden section. In the same way, when we finish the 8th moon of the year, that's always the golden section of the year. So as we can see on the next slide, the 5th week or heptad of this year is going to be coded precisely by kin 161, which is 5 Dragon. Those are in the long count, the dates of the golden intersection of timeline, which the equivalent is 4 Ahau and 5 Imish. But they occupy the same position within the 260-day count, position 160 and position 161. The kin reference is really from the dream spell and the Galactic Maya. In the original or traditional count, we don't speak about kin 1 or kin 160 or kin 260. Those are reference guides from the new dispensation of time. And we can see here how not our next episode on gamma 3, but our 48th episode on gamma 10 is going to be on king 161. So that king 161 is pretty close. So basically, to wrap it up, we are navigating, we are getting close to the golden section of the 260-day cycle, and we are within the golden section of the 260 heptad cycle. That's really important. So this is like a nested cycle within a nested cycle, which coincides with the golden section. Not exactly, it's not that the heptad 161 contains kin 61, but it's really close enough. Is in that range of, let's remember that the golden ratio is 1.618. So really, in 162 is an approximation of 1618.
Exactly. I mean, I think this entire window, though, for our appreciation, it's like spanning across a window. So like you say, the 7-day cycle we're in right now is coded by 160. The next 7-day cycle is coded by 161. The following cycle, 7-day cycle after that, is coded by 162.
Mm-hmm.
And we happen to be in the nested cycles within that currently that are from one count to another a forerunner to what's to come, because currently the galactic cycle is passing through that golden ratio in this next passage of days, right? And then to follow that 44 days later will be the traditional count. And so we can appreciate that frequency or that pulse as it is synchronizing, where it's just because we can see these different moving parts according to their number and how they are expressing and how they are moving in greater synchronicity. That's the part I just wanted to say, that because to me, when you're sharing all this too, it's just like, it's just so beautiful to say it. I got to call it that, and I hope others have the eyes to see the beauty of it, how these numbers are expressing or how they behave in relationship with each other. It's just, and it continues to reveal more of its nature to us, just through observation. Back to that again, like the observer effect is in effect. And that's, I'll keep saying that because this thing is no joke.
And we can see how also the next moon, the lunar moon, is going to start on a new moon. So we have a lunar moon synchronizing with, or let's say, a new moon coinciding with the new moon. This doesn't happen all the time because let's remember the phases of the moon. It takes the moon 29.5 days to go to the same phase, from new moon to new moon. But it takes 27.5 days to complete an orbit around the Earth. It's not the same. One is called the sidereal cycle, 27.5 days, and the other one is called the synodic cycle, which is 29.5. So starting a moon with a new moon is auspicious, and especially happening at the golden section of a cycle of 260 weeks or heptads is even more synchronous.
It's just elegant. It's elegant.
Yeah, and we actually we encourage people to go to the website and download the almanac, in which we explain the golden sections of the year and the importance of the phi ratio within the structure of the 13 unit wave spell in way more detail than what we are doing here. It's really a tool that we designed with the purpose of bringing this component of the golden proportion to our perceptions and the expansion of our consciousness, because we are not really used to perceive that those harmonic notes in time. We are what we do at the harmonic factor is really combining all the wisdom from the predecessors, the Olmec and the indigenous Maya, all the knowledge of time that they left, combined with all the knowledge and the wisdom that Jose Arguelles also added to the synchronic order, and perceiving all of that through that lens of the golden ratio. And that's the aim of creating the synchronometer, the harmonic synchronometer, is really to include that element, this element of harmony, which is the golden ratio, into the accounting of the cycles, so that we can become really aware of moments of special harmony like the one that we are transiting right now. And here we are. Something really important happened in the last 3 days. We have here, we see on Kin 144, which was August 15, we completed 45 Solkin cycles from the revelation of the Telectonon prophecy of Pakal Botan on July 26, 1993, the start of the year of the yellow magnetic seed, Kin 144, and the August 16 and 17 marked the completion of another prophetic stage. That's why we added here the harmonic convergence of prophecy, because we completed yesterday and the day before 38 years of the harmonic convergence of 1987. And that means that one prophetic cycle was concluded and another one was beginning. And we experienced, when we were noticing this, we realized that this happened precisely 260 days ago, something really similar, as we can see on, I think it's on the next slide. Last November 28, 2024, Kin 144, 72 plus 72, yellow magnetic seed, marked the completion of 44 Solkins of 260 days. That corresponds to 11,440 days since the revelation of the Telectonon prophecy of Pakal Botan to Jose Arguelles. As I mentioned before, July 26, 1993, coding the first day of the first year of the 7 years of prophecy, 1993 to 2000. This 11,440 days synchronization is a perfect fractal time container for the 1,144 years of the Quetzalcoatl prophecy. So we actually, this slide is from our episode from 260 days ago, when we were speaking about the importance of number 144, and we noticed this. So basically, now one Solkin later, something similar is happening again. We see here Quetzalcoatl and Pakal Botan seeing each other to the eye, because it's like the Ouroboros biting its tail again. One Solkin after. So 260 days ago, we were having a completion of a period that is a fractal of the full prophecy, and now 260 days later, we have the completion of another cycle of 260 days from that revelation of the Telectonon prophecy, and the sealing of the prophecy of Quetzalcoatl of the 13 heavens and 9 hells. So these are just patterns of prophecy that keep showing up to narrate another story that is not evident for many people, but that when we pay attention, we can see, like with an X-ray vision, the harmony behind everything that is happening. Let's remember that these numbers, the number 144 and the prophecy of Quetzalcoatl, are connected by in many layers. This is one of them. It's the map of 7 cycles of 144 days of the return of sacred power, with the 7 cycles of the Lord of the Dawn and the return of Quetzalcoatl that Dr. Jose Arguelles Balumbotan left for us as a map to really measure the phasing out of a cycle and the phasing in of another cycle. And what we see here, phasing in yellow, is that those 7 cycles of the return of sacred power, each cycle of 144 days. So we see again these 2 prophetic figures, Quetzalcoatl and Pacalbotan, the 144 as the day of the revelation, and the 144,000 that met the day of the harmonic convergence to activate different sacred sites around the world. So these are frequencies or numbers that are guiding the harmony behind the harmonic convergence, and thinking or noticing this convergence of cycles. We also decided to map on King 144 the fullness of the 52 cycles of 144 days, since they were revealed to Jose Arguelles on October 22 of the year 2010. And since then, if we start to count cycles of 144 days, we can see first on the left that cycle 7 ends on the out of time 2013, and cycle 8 begins on galactic synchronization, day 1 of moon 1 of new Sirius cycle 26. That means that those cycles of 144 days, those 7 cycles that ended on galactic synchronization, they complete one hologram. But if we expand to complete a hologram of 52 cycles of, which is another hologram, we can measure a hologram of 7, or we can measure a hologram of 52. Let's remember that we have 52 weeks of 7 days each in 1 year. So those are the 2 components of the hologram. And when we do that, we notice 2 important aspects which confirm the prophetic nature of these cycles. One is that the last day of cycle 52, that means day 144 of cycle 52, it's April 22nd of the year 2031. That means that is going to the full cycle is going to end on Earth Day 2031, which happens to be King 139, the blue solar storm, right at the end of the 7th column of the Solkin matrix. And the other beautiful layer that we found here, which is highlighted with phi, is that the 38th cycle from the beginning, because remember, if we count only from galactic synchronization, July 26, 2013, to the golden intersection of timelines, we have 31 cycles of 144 days. But when we add the other 7 that preceded that, we have 38. So basically, there is a resonance between the new serial cycle 1.38 that we are navigating and the fact that the golden intersection is going to make that bridge from cycle 38 to cycle 39, which is what we see here. Is very small. We will be publishing this in the coming days so that people can observe it on a larger screen. But what we wanted to show is that these cycles are a measure of the harmony of number 144, which, as we can see on the next slide, is the only number within the Fibonacci sequence, the golden spiral, that is a square and a spiral at the same time, because it's the only number, the King 144 or day one, any day 144 of it, or any cycle of 144 units, is basically a point of special harmony within any cycle, being 144 days or 144,000 days, like a one back tune, which is that the measure, because it gives us that point of resonance, or that, as we say here, 144 is therefore the only number in the Fibonacci spiral that is a square and a circle spiral at the same time, a divine intersection of golden proportions where space, the square, and time, the circle, meet. These harmonic attributes may explain why the Maya devised this number as the basis of their sacred Bactun count of 13 periods of 144,000 days each, which is what we are going to go into the next section. We already covered a lot on our last episode. We were making emphasis on the fact that our episode of August 11 was synchronizing with the start of the long count of the cycle of 13 Bactuns, and this is a perfect opener to really go deep into one of the videos that we presented at the beginning of the podcast, which is the probably episode 2, if I'm not wrong, maybe episode 2 or episode 1, I don't remember, but we were speaking about the fractal nature of the golden intersection connected to history, which is the theme for this episode 46. Is we really want to emphasize the many precursors to the golden intersection that already signal that this point is a very, very sensitive moment within the larger picture. That means that larger picture is the 13th Bactun map of recorded history. So if you want, we can probably run that video, or we can enter. Yeah.
Oh, I think it's a good idea. Thank you so much just for the presentation and the slides. And we do want to encourage people to visit us on Facebook, where you can find us on the Facebook page. And some of these graphics will be presented over the next few days. I know that there'll be some other posts about that, as Rubén was mentioning. That way you all can actually see them in high resolution and study them yourselves, knowing that it's a little difficult to really see the intricate detail on the screen. But you get the general idea. I mean, those 144 day cycles are no joke. And that's what we've been aware of. I mean, I was aware of it when Jose first observed it. So I've been observing it since then, because he published then about that. And we knew coming into 2012 that we were experiencing those two lines that you see crossing in that particular graphic, and one being the return of sacred power, and the other being the destabilization of the material.
Mm-hmm.
And so that threshold was crossed. That literally was crossed nearly 13 years ago. And so this is why it's so special and important now in this next wave, this new wave. We have a new opportunity here. And this is what we've been sharing with people as well. This is of the level of significance as that of the fulfillment of the 13 heavens, 9 hells prophecy, that around the harmonic convergence, around that which that was anchored. This is of the same level of significance as meeting the threshold of December 21st, 2012. So, and we're experiencing it at a fractal resonance of 13 tunes and 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we know, as King El Rey speaks about, anytime you see 13, you know it's a new beginning. It's an indicator of a new beginning. And so we know that this is what we're currently navigating together. The beauty of it is we're doing it together. We know we have those tuning in. We're reaching more people with the podcast, this information, just among people who've never even heard of a dream spell calendar, who've never even considered the Mayan factors, who've never considered the Olmec or Nubun route to any of this. You know, this is happening whether you're aware of it or not. So we are doing our part at the Harmonic Factor to unify the counts so we can together bear witness to that greater power, harmonizing it all by and through number, which, you know, is just epic to witness. And I would like to just say, for this 7 window series, this history focus today, it is true when we look at that Baktun cycle of recorded history, it's a container for all the mayhem and the boo-boo and all of the other all the beauty, all the things that have occurred over the course of these past 13 Baktuns. And now here we are at a 13 tune and 13-year refresher, essentially a new wave. We have a chance to observe it again, and with our maturity on our evolving soul, if you will, or consciousness, we can bring something even newer to it now, because it's required now. We need that new reboot, reset, you know, recalibration of everything.
Yeah, and it's a completely new perspective because it's from the other side of 2012. So it's like looking at the rear view mirror and seeing with an entire new perspective of everything that has transpired within these 13 years and how the world has shifted dramatically within that period. So considering that completion of 13 years and 13 tunes that we are now approaching, there are many beautiful synchronicities that are really letting us know that we are closing this climatic cycle of 13 years with all the bells and whistles, as like having that golden intersection on this year of the resonant seed is amazing. It really creates that ripple effect through the fabric of time, and is resonating with not only the new time and the dream spell, but also with the ancient Maya, which is what makes it very special. And I also want to clarify that this is according, of course, the cycle that we are measuring is according to the archaeologists and academics that follow the Gordon Martinez Thompson correlation, GMT, because for the people of Guatemala, the ancient Maya, they are tracking a different set of cycles, and it's perfect also. But what we are doing here is just focusing on the numbers and the data that we can infer from from any decoder that you find online, and any calculator that you, or any app that you can find also, with that will give us those markers. October 14, 15 is, according to this correlation, the date 13.0.0.13.0.0. That is not on the traditional count of the people, the Maya Quiche from Guatemala. And we are doing our best to contact them to see if there's a possibility of having like a conversation, because it is important that for this 13-year cycle, we can also come to a resolution of that difference, and that split in consciousness, which is not really part of the unification, is really a debris of the separation consciousness. But we want to make sure that we honor their view and their perspective. They don't follow the GMT correlation, so that's an important aspect to highlight, because in their tradition they have their own way of tracking their cycles, and it may not be as clear and sharp as we want, because the more we try to really make sense of the calculations, it's a little difficult. But that doesn't mean that that is not is not measured in the right way. Maybe it's just our interpretation that is not really fully attuned to what they're doing. But according to the academics and the tools that we have online to track these cycles, these are the coordinates. The golden intersection is going to mark the completion of 13 cycles of 360 days according to all these tools. So that's what we want to just clarify and highlight, just in case that, because we know that sensibilities are high, and every time that we are closing a year and starting a new one, there is so much noise and so much confusion for the terminology. We don't say Mayan New Year, because that's not accurate. It's the day out of time and the Galactic New Year, and the indigenous people, they track the beginning of their year not correlated to the star series. They track it how they have been tracking it, which is through these ceremonies of their ancestors, and that's perfectly okay.
And I'd like to also point out that in the unification process, it's organic. And so the traditional observe the ancestral traditional count, which, as you said, is perfect. And whether it's anchored to the GMT, like the tools that we're made to use because we're here now, or it's attuned to their own anchor itself, which is completely perfect unto itself, in relationship with the future count of the galactic codes that do correlate to the star system of Sirius. And so we know what's happening is that there is a synchronization underway. That's why literally nearly 13 years ago, we crossed what is regarded as galactic synchronization. And that's why this information is even being presented in this way, towards a greater coherence and unity of the counts. And again, I love the fact that we are making the stride to reach out to those communities of the Quiche Maya, and perhaps we can inquire with Tata Jose Pumuños. Maybe he'd be a great person to communicate that with people from his traditional community. He himself being of the Quiche Maya. So, and he's also shown in this new wave, being a carrier of the sixth sun, as he was a previous guest with us here, a beloved brother of ours, that he's very open and willing to be about the unification of the counts.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I shared with you that he had that dream the day that I called him. He'd had a dream about me, particularly, and having a conversation about unifying the counts.
Mm-hmm.
And I called him that same day. Mind you, I'd never called him before. I just was guided to call his phone number that he published on social media to check in about what they were doing with their land in California and things. And in his message to me is he had just had a dream about me and wanted to focus on an event in the future where we could begin unifying the counts. And wouldn't you know, we spent both summer solstice with he and his wonderful family and a whole community up north. And then we also shared the day out of time, as you mentioned, together. And we were invited to observe that. I'm pointing that to say we're in the transformation, we're in the shift, and everyone is invited. Like that's the point. We're riding that wave.
Yeah, and the idea with the golden intersection of timelines is really bring attention to the ancient way of tracking time, and we trust that if enough attention is placed on the subject of time and time tracking, timekeeping, that the Gregorian calendar basically uh, covers with a layer of confusion, that if we really focus on the harmonic aspects and the science behind these systems, we may have that summit of uh, different timekeepers at some point, just finding ways of setting apart differences and accept that we are just seeing the same crystal from a different facet, no? And that the the real and and the truly important thing is that we are in the natural time frequency, that we are connecting with a different way of measuring time that is not only the Gregorian calendar. What we are having this year is the opportunity to integrate into the harmony of this and advanced Maya time science the irregularity and the uh, illogical nature of the Gregorian calendar, because there are not many uh, layers of harmony within this calendar. And the fact that it's synchronizing with the golden ratio on such an auspicious date and a window, well, it's part of what we are focusing our attention, just to also to come to terms to the damage that the Gregorian calendar has created. So the dissonance is absorbed by the resonance. That's what we really need to create, is to create a wave of resonance that disarms and absorbs all the dissonance that is in the field right now.
Well, with that said, let's go ahead and get into the next section. Do you want to set this up at all, just to help people understand what they're about to watch? It's about a 20-minute video.
I would say that let's jump into the first slide, because we have what we were planning to do is
Okay.
just go through the 13 Bactun map and see the instances where the golden ratio shows up within the history of timekeeping, which was the subject of the video.
Okay.
And in the video we will basically go over the fullness of it, and then
Perfect.
we will do like a brief commentary.
Okay. Sounds great. Thanks, brother. Time is
Yeah.
art.
Time is art.
The tapestry of history, uniting past, present, and future. That's right. That's our intention, and that is the focus.
Yes, and this is like we have been presenting on many episodes. I think it was episode 1 when we presented this map. It's from the Mayan Factor. Is the 13 Backtune map of recorded history of the wave harmonic of history, which contains 5,125 years and represented in 13 columns, each one representing one Backtune of 144,000 days, and each of the squares of this Solkin matrix represents one Katun of 7,200 days. So what we are going to see right now is that it's a really a 20-minute video in which we go over this map in full detail to really grasp the points over that span of 5,125 years, where the golden ratio shows up in decisive moments of the shift from one system of measuring time to another, which is what we are seeing right now with the golden intersection. So let's roll it, and we will do a brief commentary after that.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in and staying tuned.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode on the evolution of timekeeping. Today, we are going to speak about the different changes in the way that we measure time that we have experienced in the last 5,000 years or so. And in order to do that, we are going to use this map as a reference guide, as it is a harmonious or a harmonic way to present history. Using this map will allow us to establish important points within the timeline that we will not have the chance to appreciate if we were using linear time or the Gregorian calendar or any other tool or device to measure time. So what we are seeing on screen is called the 13 Backtune cycle or wave harmonic of history. Was presented by Dr. Jose Arguelles in his groundbreaking book, The Mayan Factor, back in 1987. On it, we can see or appreciate the process of evolution of civilization on Earth mapped along 13 stages of evolution. Those 13 stages are called Backtunes, and each of those Backtunes is comprised by 20 periods of approximately 20 years, that is one generation. So basically in each of these columns dividing this map, there is around 400 years, or what we can say 20 generations, if we take one generation as 20 years. So on this map, each of these periods marks like a qualitative or quantitative shift in human consciousness and its impact on civilization. So the beginning point of this map is Katun 1, 3113 BC, and if we read the map from top to bottom and from left to right, we end up on Katun 260. That was the entrance to the year 2012. And as I mentioned, this is a 51,025 years period. The Maya used to map these periods as tun, which a tun is a cycle of 360 days, is 5 days short of a tropical year. And that makes calculations way easier and allows us to see harmonic patterns along the timeline. So this in this map,
We are using a fractal scale like we do on geographic maps, and as I mentioned before, what we see in each of the units that of the 260 units is approximately one generation or 20 years. To be exact, is 7,200 days. And what we are going to do is go from the beginning to the end of the timeline and show where the most important calendrical reforms were done. So in order to start, we need to make clear that the first stage of modern timekeeping starts in Babylon around the year 3113 BC. This established what we call the error in time, which is the Babylonian division of time as a space in a circle. What we see here at the beginning, the wheel of the clock, or the division of space in 12 sectors. That's when Dr. Jose Arguelles said that time was trapped in the third dimension. So the idea is to unlock that error, that trap, redeem it. And in order to do that, we need to go through the different stages that this process of distortion of the way that we perceive time started. So original Babylonian calendars when we are speaking about here Egypt, Mesopotamia, and the civilizations of the Far West, they were using mostly advanced calendars that were tracking the cycles of the moon. In the case of the Chinese and the Hebrew, they have lunar calendars that they still use today. The Islamic people also use lunar calendars, and Babylonian time is also based in masculine power. So these lunar calendars were basically appropriated by the male priest class, and even though they were measuring periods of approximately one moon, they use this division to exert control over the population. So what we see here is that in the year here in that part, which is the year zero, when there is a break in the calendrical system to measure time, we have Julius Caesar, the emergence of Julius Caesar in Europe. He brought in the Julian calendar, and that's where the reason we find the year zero today as the start of this Gregorian count is rooted in that emergence of a prophetic figure called Jesus Christ. So our entire perceptions of time are basically modeled after the birth of the prophet that is the most important figure of the Catholic religion. And in order to understand why this is important, and because we are right now in the year 2024, and that means that 24 years have supposedly elapsed from the birth of this prophet. But the Julian calendar that was different from the Gregorian calendar, in which it didn't include the leap year rule, so that the quarter of a day that is accumulated every 4 years was not taken into account. In the year 1582, we had the Gregorian reform. So in that year, the distortion of the cycles of time really reached a climax, because the Gregorian calendar, instead of measuring regular periods of 30 days plus 5 holidays at the end, or which will account to 12 cycles of 30 days plus 5 days at the end of the year. That would be one way of reconciling. That's the way that the Egyptians were doing it. From that way of reconciling time, we ended up measuring 13 irregular months of 28, 29, 30, or 31 days each. And this Gregorian reform is the one that is still in place. And these basically, these 3 stages of the calendrical systems that have been driving the history of humankind is basically a cover-up of harmony. So that we say, or Dr. Arguelles says, that the Baktun 13, which started in the year 1618 to 2012, that was the period comprised between these 20 cycles of 7,200 days, is basically the period where most of the transformation of the Industrial Revolution took place. It's called the mechanization of time, the Baktun of the mechanization of time, or the Baktun of the transformation of matter, because it's when the atomic energy was discovered, and when the Industrial Revolution really started to accelerate at an exponential rate, bringing us to where we are today. So this Gregorian reform was also accompanied by the emergence of the mechanical clock, which is the microprogram. But in this way, this harmonic set of cycles was covered by a fog of confusion. Let's remember that Julius Caesar, the Julian reform, which gave rise to the Second Babel. So Dr. José Arguelles basically described this period as the progressive building of the Tower of Babel. And this Tower of Babel, which is basically the word Babel, for those who don't understand or are not familiar, it means confusion. So it was basically, it's a whole analogy, biblical analogy, to describe how humankind has been confused. And the confusion stems from what we mentioned at the beginning, the error in time, this division of time as space. That's the start of the confusion, and then from that confusion it got really distorted until we arrived to the Vatican and the Gregorian reform. So these are the three stages of Babel. We have Babel 1 that goes from the year minus 3113 BC to the year 0 approximately, and it's the evolution of 12-month lunar calendars. And then we have the second Babel that goes from year 0 to 1582 and the Gregorian reform, and that encompass the Julian calendar. And from 1582 to current date, we have been using the Gregorian calendar. So what is interesting about this is that, as we can see, changes always occur at the end of these 20 cycles of approximately 20 years each of 20 cartoons. The Julian reform took place here in the year 0. The Gregorian reform took place here at the end of this 12th Baktun, and the start of Baktun 13, which was this arrival of the mechanical clock and the start of the European colonization of the movement, the clash of cultures between the New World and the Old World, took place in that period. And at the end of that period, the last 40 years, we have Katun 259 and Katun 260, and that's when we have a new dispensation of time that basically redeems all the distortion from the past misuse of time, misperceptions of time. On Katun 259, that goes from 1974 to 1993, we see the emergence of harmonic convergence at the new dispensation of time in 1987. And in Katun 260, that emergence of the new dispensation of time is solidified or further grounded by the telectron prophecy and all the new tools that the synchronic order is comprised. So that means that it was at the last moment of before closing this cycle of 260 generations that we were able to really go back to harmony, and a critical mass of human civilization decided to measure time in a different way so that we can escape the loop, the artificial time loop that keeps us trapped in the same cycles of war and destruction and entropy, and enter into a new ascending spiral of harmony and syntropy. What is important now to acknowledge is that all these changes are also coordinated by the golden proportion. The golden proportion is the mathematical constant present in the organic growth of animals, plants, and minerals. And it's the way, or the equation, the method, divine method that nature uses to grow, to expand in a spiral fashion. And it can be measured through a sequence of numbers called the Fibonacci sequence. That is a progressive sequence of numbers where the number preceding the following one is always in a golden ratio relationship with it. So based on that, we have here in this map 13 stages. That number 13 is important because it's the 7th stage of the spiral. And this, we see that the golden number is defined as a mathematical constant that is 1.618033, and it's to the infinite because it's an irrational number, so it doesn't have an end. But the year 1618 was important because it was the start of Baktun 13. So basically, it allows us to establish in this map two very distinctive golden sections. One which is highlighted by the year 0, when we completed 8 Baktuns. The other one, when we completed the 13 Baktuns, that is also showcased here in green. And this one that is embedded inside the second stage. So these basically these 8 periods of the left and these 5 periods of the right, they are in a golden ratio relationship. The Julian reform took place in Cartoon 160, and we can see that that cartoon is basically the golden mean section of this matrix of the harmonic module. And the second, as we can see here, we can divide those 1,618 years of the Gregorian or the emergence of Christ as a golden mean ruler, in which 1618, those first 1,618 years are the golden ratio, and that allows us to say that basically the third Babel, or the Vatican, was the covering of the harmony of the number 13. That started right when the Gregorian calendar was marking the golden ratio number. So from 1618 to 2012, we have been seeing the progressive acceleration of the machine, the progressive emergence of technologies that are rendering human beings less and less able to figure it out life, because the artificial time matrix creates like a noise that doesn't, or a mental fog that doesn't allow us to fully grasp the nature of time and reality. So basically, what we are doing in this series is uncovering those points, those blind spots, or those blind points where the shift took place on a day like today, October 15, 1415, 1582. The Gregorian calendar started. As we record this video, we are completing precisely 442 years from that initial point. And these are important moments to make this conscious, because the purpose of the law of time and the synchronic order is really to make conscious the unconscious. As we do this, we are redeeming the karma from the past. And we are gaining a complete new comprehension of the nature of reality, the nature of time, the nature of historic events that mark our evolution collectively and individually. And now we have the opportunity of perceiving harmony within the disharmony. That's the making conscious the unconscious can be equated to the making harmonious the disharmonious. And what we see here is that golden proportion is highlighted 3 times. It was the first day of the long count, of the Maya long count, corresponded to the day 4 Ahau. That's the equivalent of Kin 160 on the 260-day count. 160 is the golden section of the 1320 matrix. The second reform, the Julian calendar, took place on Cartoon 160. It was again Cartoon 4 Ahau. And the closing of this cycle of evolution of 13 Bactuns took place on long count marker 13.0.0.0.0 for Ahau. That means that we are basically from start to finish um, observing the pattern of the golden mean present in the most important stages of our evolution. I hope this video is enlightening, and if you like it, please subscribe, like it, and share it, and help us to reach a critical mass of humanity to enter the golden intersection of timelines of the year 2025 in complete harmony and in symphony with the rhythms of nature and the mathematical ratios that it is governed. So thank you so much, and see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Indeed, and we're back. Thank you, Ruben. Are you unmuted?
Yeah, I'm unmuted.
Okay, great.
Excuse my English and my stuttering.
Oh man, no, it's a great. I appreciate love the comprehensive presentation and the art of it, because the beauty of the graphics that you've brought together illustrated and help us really make sense. So, there's much to say, frankly. I mean, just listening to it now, as you mentioned, we played this early on in this 52 episode series. And it's great to hear it now again as a bit of a refresher to remind us why we set out to do this to begin with. Really, why you and I set out to do any of this together, is really because of what you've covered relative to those, those cycles of Babel, and where we find ourselves even now in the new time on this side of 2012, you said earlier, though realizing at the same time, a lot of the people in the world in some way or another might be stuck in a bit of a time loop back in the 13th Baktun. Like, even though we have all these advancements in this technology and things, there's something going on. And I know we've mentioned this with King Etznab as well. And so I think just doing that review of history from this lens is invaluable, because it gives us real context for what we've been subject of or subjected by, frankly, and that because we're on this side of that history, that history is done, even though that container, it's kind of fractal now. So this 13 years that we've been through since Galactic Sync, since the closing of the cycle, the closing of 13th Baktun, again, a 13th Baktun. Here we're at nearly 13 tunes since December 21st, 2012, 13 years since that year. It's a new beginning. Clearly, everything across the board, it indicates it's a new beginning. And at this moment, we have a chance to, as you said, make the unconscious conscious in a new way on this side of that threshold, because we already did that part. And things continue to evolve. Now we're getting an opportunity to connect noospherically and actually realize what that means relative to, say, history or our evolving species at this point. So that's part of the new wave as well, in just making these things conscious, and how we individually and collectively engage and activate. I might say certainly knowing your galactic signature is a big part of that. So for those listening to this, if you don't happen to know your galactic signature, I invite you to visit lawoftime.org website, where you can easily access a decode your birth date tool right there on the top of their website. It's one way, and there are other decoders out there. It's just one I like to mention. It's one of the foundational decoders relative to this time shift that we're all a part of. Those of us tuning in, those of us conscious of it, or those not. Though I would like to say, given the Babel context, and my question in listening this time was, okay, after Babel 3, like, Babel 3 is, it doesn't necessarily appear to be over. It appears to have ramped up to a new heightened level in this first cartoon of the 14th Baktun. Like, we're only in this first 20-year window, 19.7-year window or whatever, of the new Baktun 14. So I don't necessarily feel, again, going back to the fact that so many are caught up in the previous Baktun, right? They're still in there. They're stuck in that modus of operation, right? So, and that again is, as you even mentioned in the commentary in the video, there is what we set out to do with this transmission, was to break free from the zero-sum game of that attrition, of that calendar system, because we recognize it's really at the root, and we do. I mean, we see that Babylon, that's funny, is falling. Sure. It's fallen already, and we're in the sort of reverberations of it already falling. And that's where it gets real confusing, because people are now caught up in like reverberations of things. So it's a very interesting time in that regard, though I definitely would encourage people to tune in to the 13-month frequency, anchored around the start time of magnetic tone, of the magnetic moon, and that frequency that we'll say is correlated with July 26th, though that's just a marker or a corollary. It's truly anchored with the rising of Sirius. And this is a part of the future consciousness that's been coming into the planet for decades at this point, that are also activating or galactivating our awareness as well as a species. So we're getting codes from the ancients, and we're getting codes from the future, and we're the ones here to ground it right now. So, it's phenomenal. And I would say we also have to look at, okay, given that things are fairly treacherous, I'd say, out here in the default world, we'll call it, we want to be conscious of how we're choosing to move, meaning how we're choosing to live and have our being, and even look at things like our rights and things we've talked about on a certain level. Look at what it means to build a better world, as we've spoken of as well, because we can look at the context of history and say, oh my God, we're here, we're a result of all that chaos has brought us to where we are now. The calendar's at the root of it for a large part. Knowing that, what is it on us to do knowing that? And that's also a part of what the time shift is. It's about literally shifting your calendar, like deliberately unplugging from the artificial matrix and the time projection, knowing the history, what you just laid out, those 3 stages of Babel. Like, this is a lot of baggage. Like, it's a lot of baggage going back how many generations? 260 generations. I mean, my goodness, what are we talking about for real? I'm just saying, obviously there's a lot of beauty. Not to say I don't want to just paint a general brush. There's obviously beauty and creativity and the presence of spirit. I mean, it's profound, the whole experience, and to be able to see it in that scale due to that 13 Baktun map of history really does put it in context.
Yes.
Because we want to be conscious about what we are doing to deliberately shift from the de facto sort of mode, automated, automaton, just, that.
Yeah.
So thank you. I don't mean to go on, but just thank you. And I hope folks, and I see folks in the chat have been tapping in and are appreciating the transmission. So I just want to say thank you as well.
Thank you. Yeah, well, it's really, for me, it was actually refreshing to watch it again, as a reminder of the relevance of the golden ratio within these stages the of a shift in our perception of time. Shift not really for the good, because as I was narrating on the video, we started with lunar calendars that were at least even 12 months of 30 days plus 5 days, and ended up with this irregularity that doesn't make any sense. So that confusion has been just amplifying with the passing of the years. And as you mentioned, these 13 years from 2012 to 2025, it's really like a buffer zone to transcend that spell of the of Babylon. It's let's say the that fall of the Tower of Babel that we are witnessing in the world stage by the really the fall of the really moral principles more than anything, because what is happening, as we mentioned in our last episode, what is happening in Gaza, and of course what is happening in many parts of the world, but especially right now in Gaza, is unacceptable for our species to witness that. It's like a really a test for humanity to stand up against something like this happening again. It's happening during World War II, and now it's happening in front of everyone's eyes 24/7. And doing something about it is really important now. And the other important layer that is not in the video and that I wanted to highlight is that, well, one is that we are making this conscious again on heptat 160, because we see that that's the driving thread, is always that number 160.
That golden ratio. It's
13 days.
everywhere.
It is everywhere.
It's everywhere.
And it's only we can only appreciate it if we use this lens. If we don't use the 1320 lens, there is no way for it to show up at those precise points within the matrix so that we can perceive the iterations of it.
1320. Come on.
Yeah. And actually, we were saying the other day over the phone, we were commenting about this, and let's remember also that the year of confusion, when the Roman calendar is abolished and the Julian calendar is kind of starting, was the year of confusion. 44 BC, and 44 is the amount of years within a lifespan that is 16,180 days, around that, for 400.3 days. So basically that year of confusion took place also on a golden ratio scale connected to year zero. So these are just layers that keep emerging as we move over the years, that are basically solidifying the theory that either consciously or unconsciously, whoever set up the system to shift at those points, it was either guided unconsciously by the golden ratio, so that we can appreciate the disharmony within the disharmony, or they did it intentionally to create, instead of a shift in harmony, the opposite effect.
Mm.
So right now we have the opportunity to really set the record straight again, and this time the this for a how, the same date that marked the beginning and the end of the 13 Backtune count, is showing up again, 13 tunes or 13 cycle of 360 days after December 21st, 2012, and 18 cycle of 260 days, 18 solstices after December 21st, 2012, to let us know that that container, that holographic container of 13 tunes and leading to the 13 years is it's full.
Mm.
That means that the saturation point is around the corner, and this saturation point is coming also connected to a future moment in time, which is the start of Backtune 21 in the year 4772, October 14. 4772 will be day one of Backtune 21. And let's remember that Backtune 13 and Backtune 21 are connected also by the golden ratio.
Mm.
These are the golden ratio numbers within the scales: 8, 13, 21. So it's again full circle and or full spiral, which we like to say, and these are
On
ways,
cue.
ways of appreciating the harmony and the beauty of what is transpiring. uh, by looking to the past or looking to the future, we end up really in another point of the spiral
Mm.
that is giving us the, the harmony and the beauty behind the apparent chaos and the apparent disorder that we are witnessing.
I want to, as we were talking about history, I think it's significant to let it be known that really right now we're also making history.
Mm,
Okay. Because there is that sort of history that we're complete with to a degree, but there are new strides. And
mhm,
I only want to posit that because last episode I was remiss to mention the song New Paradigm by King Etznab, and then I neglected to play it. I think after our lengthy episode last time, I was just a little out of mind. But in any case, I'm going to bring that in tonight. But I also want to bring that in because it is a reflection on some level of the new history that we're doing and creating together, even by this observation. We've been holding this space for all these weeks at this point, right? And this is on, 9 years of our collaboration. That's also in a sense very significant. And these
mhm,
are the types of things that are important to acknowledge as significant to this shift from history into this new wave.
mhm,
Because again, by what you're applying and implying, by suggesting the significance and the fact that this would not be impossible without the lens of galactic time, of that 1320 lens. Those
mhm,
codes are clearly significant, and as well parallel and woven with the 8, the 13, the 21, and so on and so forth, 34, 55,
mhm,
on through the sequence, 89, 144, just to witness that though, and just to say that these is just phenomenal, just to witness it through how we are all coded, how we all
mhm,
show up. And then we can see it across timelines. We can see it in our human physiology. We can see it in nature. You know,
mhm,
it just becomes like life just becomes more and more creative. So when we say time is art, it is
mhm,
true when you are lending yourself to that frequency of beauty in all creation that is expressed as the golden ratio. And
mhm,
and the fact that we can talk about it and now point to it as a point of harmonization within and throughout all of these timelines. That's the magnificence, I believe, of what we're actually observing,
mhm.
at this moment. And so, we get excited. I get excited for sure. So
I getting excited too.
inspired. Yeah, I've had music coming through. It's just been like just experiencing, like, all right, just getting into that new wave, into this new form that our service is meant to take. We're at the beginning of a new planetary service wave spell. So we know that that means we're in this magnetic tone, magnetic moon right now. We're initiating that. We're completing that. We're tapped in. We know the purpose.
Mhm.
We know the purpose, you know. So in light of that, I do want to. I mean, are you complete? I don't want to. I don't want to jump in.
No, I'm complete. And yeah, we really cover a lot in this episode again, and it was great as a start this recap and this wrapping up towards the golden intersection to
Ex-
really go back in history and look for those cues that we already pointed out at the beginning of the journey and that we are now really bringing back to memory as the main guiding signs along the way.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, yeah, yeah. It feels like it's just confirming that we're right on time. You know, moving in greater alignment. I mean, even just to mention this, I mean, we've been, you know, like you shared the piece about Earth Day, and
Mhm.
that coming at the completion of 52 144-day cycles in the year
Yeah.
2031 on April 22nd, no less. And though knowing we've been holding deliberately like an Earth Day anchor for 5 years together, like with the harmonic factor and planet restoration and these other cooperative, collaborative efforts. So just coming down to this moment now, where even the awareness that what is happening with the Git is clearly extending, we have to obviously complete a full sequence of 52 of that to really be complete.
Yeah.
But that shows me that we have, through that time, through that completion cycle, it's going to be an entirely different situation here, you know, like, and I would like to feel that that's going to be for the good. I would like to feel that's because people are allowing their hearts to open and they're allowing themselves to get grounded and embody their purpose
Mhm.
according to nature, according to these codes of nature, of the galaxy, of the earth, of the
Yes.
ancestors, you know, of our star beings in the
Mhm.
array as well. So yeah, we give thanks, and we know it is truly a new paradigm, really and truly. And I'm going to go ahead and just bring this track in uh, to just play it. I don't even know what to put on screen while we play it, but I want to hear it
Okay.
because I feel it would be good as a way to also process all of this information. We're taking in a lot of data together, and I know one of the beautiful things about art and time is art is that we use art as a way to process a lot of data. So whether it be music and song or rhythm and dance, or it be photography or painting, a picture's worth 1,000 words, you know, it helps to have art like the beautiful display and presentation that you provide and what Ichelle's created with these background backdrops and all the videos and things. All of the creative expression is so significant to the transmission as well. So I just want to honor the artists among us. And again, this brother is a collaborator with the Harmonic Factor, FNC. We're grateful to be members of IWB ourselves and participate in cooperation in a new wave, a new paradigm, and really, really claim our rights, our human rights, our indigenous rights, as it were. Everybody has rights. And it is high time that we get on with claiming our rights. And that is something we have to do ourselves. Nobody else is going to claim your rights for you. So part of that learning curve of the new wave is to recognize the need to do that. Because like I said, we're making a new story. We call it history. We could say that's his story, right? Though there's a new story. And we're weaving that new story together on this side of the closing of the cycle. So not everybody's in the time loop, while many, many are. Let's be clear, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
though we're also here to be a bridge to do our best to provide tools and really live the planetary service wave spell, the 13 month year, to provide a service to help people make that transition, because this is the time to do it. Like these things come in waves. We happen to be in a new wave, a new open portal right now. This is what the Get really represents. This is what the completion of 13 years to 2012 and December 21st of this year, like you said, represents an open portal, an opportunity to pull up and come together and to really also get into alignment with the truth, you know. And there's a lot of confusion out there. Let's be very clear. There's a lot of confusion. People take tidbits of information. It can become very conflated, very confusing. And not that they don't have a pure intention, but without due diligence, we can unfortunately misinform or be misinformed. And so we have been really very coherent about that. That's the beautiful thing about the codes, though. The numbers don't lie, and they also bring you to the truth. They bring the truth through you as you get into alignment with them. So this is a time to, really pull together, and so that's what the new paradigm really includes, I would say. It has to include that. We have so many relatives around the world who've been affected by that historical domination code cycle and effect, no question. And at the same time, by the grace of our ancestors and those who have held the count and continue to hold the count around the world, those who are holding the true and accurate counts of nature, they have held us together, honestly. And that's what this Get is also about, celebrating the endurance of that which our ancestors have established, that it's still here for us to make conscious now. And the fact that there have been those in Palenque and throughout other regions and parts of our planet who've been holding the frequencies as well. It's really the time for the rising of indigenous peoples worldwide. And that's what we're also here to hold, because that's the part we don't see in that recorded history side. It's like, that's the new phase, I'm saying, at this point. And so it's going to come about as we tune into the reality frequencies. We got to make things real. We got to tune into the galactic time consciousness, really and truly. So that being said, I do have the track. I'm going to pull it up. I'm just going to pull it up and play it. We can just keep it on screen if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Here we go. My man. And big up King Etsnab. And we have some beautiful things in the works. I'm excited. We're going to bring some high resonance music to people through new channels, new platforms that are going to truly be a benefit for the people and benefit for the shift. Because we want to shift away from exploitation and that zero-sum game. But it's more than just talking about it. Now we're literally making it happen. So that's one thing that's come through in this ceremony. We set the intention again, solar tone of intention. And this is one of the beautiful outcomes, to be able to come together in cooperation, collaboration with IWB and other groups and individuals worldwide to make conscious this golden intersection. So, new paradigm it is in Lakesh.
Yes, Lakesh.
From the gates of heaven. Yeah, call it the soundtrack.
Welcome to the new paradigm, where you will find the new time cells of consciousness and a new particle called Zeta 9, the energy of new ideas from planet Diamond and the crystal tone of cooperation. Sit back and chillax while King Etsnab Shaquan El Rey introduces us to the new paradigm.
Build a better world.iwb.coop. UN DRIP, United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and the International Year of Cooperatives merge as one in the new paradigm on the planet. Rap God royalty, high resonance era. Let's go. Right, go to intersection of galactic timelines, where the calendars converge in a new paradigm. Time to align with the time calculation calculated in quantum to unify the nations, cleansing the tribes and the ancient empires established by the Olmecs long before the Maya. Prior to Kemet and more runs and the Hebrews, the newborns established great mystery schools. From the Hall of Mirrors, truth prairie of the endless, written in the stars and the tablets, the ephemeris. Written in the stars and the tablets, the ephemeris. Written in the stars and the tablets, the ephemeris. Nicholas Copernicus and Nikolai Tesla studied the Atlantis like the Shiites in Mecca. King still fresher than a baby out the womb. From the royal peacock of the 13 moons, royal peak from the cock as I peak excelente. The new paradigm, and king is your sensei. New age, new wave, a new paradigm. Planets align with rhymes, it's on time. New king, new thing, a new god. Going so hard, they seem like the Departed. New era, new phase, a new lead. Zeta 9 quantum on these high-rising streets. New time cells of the conscious of the mind. In the new world, the new paradigm. Yeah, a calendar change and a change of the system. Return of the co-ops and indigenous wisdom. With lyricism and bars like a barcode. I got more bars than the British bar hold. From the North Node is the white crystal mirror. Kin 38 that make the earthquake. Hurricanes and tornadoes spiral like the radio plasma, spinning faster than disaster. Sighted by NASA and detected by AI. The Superman Ray Guy, the Superman Stay Fly. Black superhero, the return of the Jedi. Crystal skull crown, jewels of the amethyst. Picture painted on the newborn canvases. From Atlantis to the depths of the Yucatan. Original man with the original strand, taking a stand on indigenous land. New age, new wave, a new paradigm. Planets align with rhymes, it's on time. New king, new thing, a new god. Going so hard, they seem like the Departed. New era, new phase, a new lead. Zeta 9 quantum on these high-rising streets. New time cells of the conscious of the mind. In the new world, the new paradigm. Call it the paradigm shift. Where I beat you to death on the mic like 3 cops. Call it the paradigm shift. So get your bars up, boy, like a bench press. Call it the paradigm shift. Like a Calvoton to let the nun. Call it the paradigm shift. And to the university of the universe. From the gates of heaven. Yeah, call it the soundtrack.
I got so excited there. All right. Let me contain myself. Big up to King Etznab for that hot fire plate, high resonance music on these high resi streets.
Yes.
Holla. So, in fact, and indeed, what is next, as we certainly are looking forward to the golden intersection of timelines. We're, as of today, I want to say we're in that 57, 56 day, 58 day window. I thought it interesting, too, that you were mentioning the time from the completion of golden intersection to December 21st. Remind me again how many days that was?
The completion from
October 15th to December 21st.
Yeah, since we are measuring cycles of 360 days instead of 365.
Yes.
We have 65 accumulated plus 3 leap days.
So 68.
65
Right.
plus 3.
And that was reminding me of something I had observed previously a couple of months ago with the timing between the harmonic convergence and Pacal's codes of 60 and 58. And so here we are in that 57, 58 day window to golden intersection of timelines, which also reflects the kin on which he departed, right? Kin 58. So again, through the mirror, in that case.
The fact that from the from the 38th anniversary of the golden intersection to the from the harmonic convergence to the golden intersection of time, as there are 60 days, like we pointed out.
Exactly. It's just, I mean, so he is a part of the coding, like you were mentioning earlier, with the prophecies, the Quetzalcoatl prophecy, as well as Pakal Votan and what we know as the Telektanan prophecy, which we hear King Etznab shout out in the song as part of the new paradigm. Is that Telektanan? And in reality, we will be there in physical presence together come October 10 through the 17th. And there are so many beautiful things. I saw the beautiful itinerary that you and Alejandra have created for this. Thank the whole team for their support in making that so beautiful, because it's just remarkable to be able to hold this space for those that do intend and will be there and are going to stay with us at Via Mercedes, Hotel Via Mercedes, or wherever they may stay. They're certainly welcome to just converge with us together. And there'll be plenty of opportunities for people to meet up. And, we'll certainly make the information available as to where we'll be. So whether you stay at Via Mercedes or not, you can certainly come there for some of the activities, as there'll be activities on the 15th, very special, that we're looking forward to co-creating that with everybody. Because this is a co-creation. It's everybody bring yourself, your best, your heart, your soul, your intention to this threshold, to this moment. I would say to this altar, or to this moment of being altered, how we are altering, like bring whatever it is that's helping us all make this transformation together. That's really a part of the point, is the reunification.
Yes.
I mean, when we think about transforming the effects of three Babels, and restoring the tower, then I think about the Tower of Bolanik. I think about the Tower of the Wind in Palenque, where we will be, right there with the Temple of Inscriptions, where we will be, which marks the completion of that 20th Baktun, as we've noted, which happens to be Kin 38 in the future count.
In the future.
And then to know that the next day you kick into Baktun 21, right there, which is noted as 1.0.0.0.0.0.0. 6 digits out now. Six places out. Currently we're 5.
5 to
Once
6.
we reach there, it goes from 5 to 6. So that's a long count.
Well, the 20 is the fractal unit of the vigesimal mathematics behind the long count. So what people were saying that it was the end of the Mayan calendar in 2012, it was really the closing of that 13-stage hologram.
Right.
But the full hologram is 20.
Exactly.
And we are connecting during October 14 with that future moment in the timeline.
Right, which we can again say is 1320 galactic time, or 13 tunes complete, 7 tunes to go. We know the difference between 20 and 13 is 7. So that's why that factors so prominently in the factors. 7 heptad, 7-day heptad, 7 kin heptad, etc. 7 chakras, So it's beautiful to know that we're at the beginning of this set of 7. We're a part of seeding that now, and all of these golden ratio synchronizations happening together, it's just, popping off so much, given what we're seeing on the horizon, what we've been witnessing, and what's yet to emerge. I mean, things we don't even know yet. Yeah. So we want to encourage people to tap in with us, though, again, and we'll always say, get out into nature. Go to a sacred place for you to observe these sacred days. We invite you to really hold that whole window sacred. In fact, the entire month of October is noted this year, notably and prophetically, as International Month of Cooperatives, that being the month of October 2025. And nested right within the center of that happens to be the golden intersection of timelines, which we're making more conscious on an international, global, planetary, noospheric scale. So this is a planetary event that will be observed, around the planet. And we're super grateful for those who are making the intention to travel there and those who are helping spread the word, or as you mentioned, our relatives in Argentina are beginning to interpret it or affix it or relate with it in a way that's heart-centric for them. And that's good. I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter how you express it. Again, the point is just to get into your heart, get into nature, really get into alignment with your whole full being and that of the earth and all your relatives, all our relations. That's the invitation. That's the intention we've set. And this will indeed fully help us achieve breaking free from the zero-sum game. It's like the day at a time. When you take that day at a time and you decide, I'm not going to do any monetary exchange on this day, I'm not going to participate in that Babylon system, there's a real deliberate effort in doing that. And it's a very clear intention, is to pause, as the golden intersection of timelines also invites, pause and shift. And to shift means you're not doing what you formerly did. So this is what we're really inviting. And I know it's like for us holding space all these years, as we're here, as I said, serving as a bridge from one world into another, really and truly. It's a very unique time and interesting way to serve, and to be present on the planet. But we're so grateful for all of you who tune in with us regularly, have been participating with us during this entire series. And we look forward to meeting some of you in person here in the near future as well. And we certainly look forward to future opportunities to cooperate and collaborate. We invite you to visit buildabetterworld.iwb.coop so we can really cooperate and we can really step into a new paradigm for real. When we talk about paradigm shift, it's more than a song. It's a real shift. It's just like establishing galactic time, indigenous time, as the standard, as we've often said, the harmonic standard. That's what we've set out to do, is to fulfill what those who've gone before us have attempted to fulfill. And we've just been really compelled to see it through. And now, with the grace of the ancestors and with the presence of other great cooperators like King Etznab and TPH and Michelle and Alejandro, all the team, all the others, the many others, we're building ourselves together in greater coherence to be able to come together as a unified body, and not just us in our immediate circle, but others around the world. So, we just give thanks for that and hold that space with gratitude and reverence. I really quickly do want to pop on the screen with the mention of Quetzalcoatl. I like the artful expression here for the event program for those 7 nights, 8 days during the ceremony. People can also find this if they tap in to our WhatsApp group. You'll be able to find the full schedule, which is elegant, beautiful, by the way. I wanted to mention that to you. I emailed that out to somebody earlier today, and I was just like, wow, this is so beautiful. So it's a memento as well. As a program, I would say it's certainly a beautiful artifact from this, a digital artifact, we might say, from this gesture at this moment in the spiral. So please scan the QR code. You can always take a screenshot with your phone device, for example, and then go into your photos and hold the QR down, and your phone should give you the option to go right there to the link. In this case, it will be the WhatsApp group for the Golden Intersection of Timelines. And as I said, on that page, you can find the expanded version of this. This is a beautiful, beautiful snapshot. So I really encourage you to take a screenshot of this too. But the fullness will be actually if and when you tap in with that group, you'll get access to the full itinerary and everything, just to give you a sense of what's going to be happening specifically in Palenque. But we also want to encourage people to join the Facebook event page and let us know what you're doing. Like, tap in, let us know where you're going to be, what your intention is around that time and that timing. We're looking to bring in some other partners to help us spread the word and kind of through the telephone, or the network of connectivity out there with people around the world, really spread the word. And we're going to definitely see a growing of this wave, I feel, over the next few weeks. So I know,
Yes.
given what we're going to be doing and the time we're going to be putting into this and making conscious in Spanish language, as you said, for the community in Mexico, Latin America, it's going to be dynamic. And I know they're already, many of our kin down there are already dynamically tapping in with this. I want to give a shout out to Efren, for example, and those in his circle who are really holding space to honor this in such a heartfelt way. And I really honor him and again, many others out there who have been holding space, making this conscious, and doing whatever is in their heart to do to observe it. It's not for us to tell you what to do. All we're really doing is showing you the harmonic coordination going on. We're just helping you make it conscious. How you choose to surf that wave is up to you. And we invite you to stay in your heart in that process. That's going to be one thing we might recommend as much as you can. This whole thing is going to collapse into the heart anyway, so you may as well meet it there. Okay? And that's just really some frequency advice, really, as we ride this wave.
Yeah, and to remind people that it's an open gathering, an open invitation. The event in Palenque is not a retreat, and that's why we are not in the spirit of time is art. There is no charge to go to the event more than probably voluntary donations that people will have to bring, just as a way of saying thanks to the elders, Abuelo Nico, Abuelo Mario. Mario is right now actually going, he's on the second day of his art festival in La Canja, 2 hours from Palenque. And he's a community leader and a very, very, very wise man and a beautiful human being who is going to help us hold space for this transformation. And the same with Abuelo Nico. He will be conducting the Temazcal to really go through the process of cleansing so that we can be as pure as possible for the intersection of called the intersection of timelines. And in that way, we are anyone who goes there, who decides, who feels the call, because this is more about resonance and feeling the call. You feel the call to be there. Well, this will be really an amazing also opportunity for the local community to grow and to expand. And we are looking forward for people from different parts of the world that Palenque becomes a center of attention in a good way, so that people can recognize that the origin of so much wisdom, so much knowledge, and so much heart is right there. That's why the theme of return to origin is really a metaphor for entering back into that womb of creation that is the jungle, and really receive the gifts that the land is probably preparing for us. We don't know exactly how this is going to play out, but we trust the signs and that has been leading us to this point.
Absolutely. So yeah, we thank you. We encourage everybody to tap in however they feel guided to tap in. Certainly let's connect in the heart wherever you're going to be those sacred days. where there was something in the article I also wanted to mention you made conscious a couple of days ago when we were crossing, well, you were pointing to October 12th as the anniversary, 533 years, was it?
Yes.
Since the encounter of so-called Christopher Columbus to the so-called New World at that point. And that being very significant because it falls in that window of October 10 through 17, that October 12th, that 533rd anniversary next to Dia de las Razas, celebrated as indigenous oriented throughout Mexico and Latin America. And then you have Indigenous Peoples Day in North America, many places throughout North America observe it officially, in fact, on October 13th, and then followed by October 14th and followed by October 15th. Yeah. So the embrace of how indigenous this is not to be missed. Let's be very clear. Like, everything is indicating that this is for our true human indigenous nature. Like, this is the solution we require to all of the calamity and the peril that we've been observing and witnessing is to be found in truly the emergence and reemergence of these indigenous root of the root, anchor of the anchor sort of solutions and calibration. It's only going to come from that. So, we're here to hold space and do our part to be of service, which is all we've ever endeavored to do. And it's guided us to this at this point. So, it's not lost on me that this is truly, a paradigm shift on every level. And when we say indigenous water bank, it's not a small thing. It's truly a significant part of that shift. When we talk about these days of observance that we're anchoring and bookending the golden intersection on. I mean, what to mention how many Baktuns will it be since December 21st, 2012, when we arrived to Kin 207? 18? 18. So that can't be a coincidence. That's a 9. That sums that up beautifully. We know that 18 frequency of the 260 count as well. 18 times 260, bringing us to this. So no matter how you look at it, we're just saying that it's beauty at every angle. It's elegance. It's mind blowing, really, heart opening and mind blowing at the same time.
It's really humbling and beautiful to experience it, especially if you are open to receive, and if you are really open to explore, because sometimes we probably give too much importance or too much space to what we know, and we get a little hesitant to really explore new ways of perceiving things. And this is really a beautiful way of expand our awareness, expand our perceptions, and give thanks. Really, it's about giving thanks to ourselves and to Creator for giving us the chance to experience these shifts in a conscious way, completely fully awake.
Indeed, my brother. The only last request we really make of people is, if you haven't already, please sign the petition. This is really also helping us make this conscious in another way, at another level. This is really addressed to the human family. We're really calling on everyone and anyone to help us actually arrive to 144,000 signatures by the golden intersection of timelines. It's possible. We're going to have to be more about putting this public and putting this forward, but we're also calling on you to help us out. Spread this throughout your own networks. Post it out there. I think we do include a link in our show notes, but just in case we don't, we invite you to find it here. I got to find a link for it. I don't even have one anymore. accessible. Maybe one of our team can maybe pull it up if they're able to. But you can certainly scan. Again, you can take a screenshot of the QR code on your device and then go back into your photos and hold on the image of the QR itself, hold on to the QR, and your phone should give you an option to go to the petition website, which happens to be change.org. I know some people out there in the world don't like change.org, and I can accept that as well. Again, our goal is to raise awareness about this among everybody as far and wide as possible. And so we, again, encourage and appreciate your support. We love your support for helping us spread the word about this petition. Again, synchronistically, the petition was launched October 14th, 2016. So there's no coincidence there. We had no idea about the golden intersection in entering this. So from the day we launched it with the intention of anchoring it around Indigenous Peoples Day, which is what we did, after presenting at the UN that July 22nd, which we also did that year, we put this petition forward because we're really serious about this paradigm shift, this new time shift, and realizing there's been unfinished business that we intended would have been done before the good thing is there are significant things that were achieved before the closing of the cycle. That's important to know. And that's one of the reasons why we're here now, literally. Were some baseline things not achieved by the contingent of the world's indigenous peoples, we wouldn't be here right now. And I want to invite you to learn more, but there's real depth to what I'm saying there. So those with the ears to hear and the eyes to see can really feel into what I'm saying when I say that. And again, I want to invite you to visit buildabetterworld.iwb.coop and consider becoming a member, because inside the co-op, you'll even get a deeper depth of perception of what I mean when I say that were it not for the contingent of the world's indigenous, we would not be here right now in the way we are. We're here in a good way for all intents and purposes. Let's be clear. There's some mayhem happening, though we're also here at the simultaneous reality of the return of sacred power. That's also happening. So as we anchor in, root into the root of the root, we're going to make it just fine. Though we got to do it together. And that's really one of the outcomes of this endeavor, as we're also realizing with our relatives in Palenque and other communities worldwide, is we have to do it together. So give thanks for all of y'all enduring our transmissions like this, but we're really putting a call out there, and sometimes you feel like it's a call out to the wilderness, so we just continue to put the call out as we have for years, and we will continue to do it.
Building the field.
That's all we're here for. So again, big up, love, and gratitude to everybody tapping in. If you can donate, we encourage that as well. We greatly appreciate that. You can find the donate link at the top of the live chat right there. It's always pinned there for folks. We appreciate the support. This is a volunteer effort, generally. In reality, none of us are paid to do this. We're just compelled to participate in this consciousness shift. And so we do give great thanks for any support people can provide, because it does help us endure and cover the basic necessities to have the materials and develop the materials and produce the media and do the things that we do with money or without money. We do whatever we can to make this happen, because that's really what time it is. But certainly if you can donate, we certainly encourage that. And we also encourage you to donate to the Indigenous Water Bank. You can go to iwb.coop. Better said, you can go to buildabetterworld.iwb.coop to access that new platform where you can donate directly on the platform. And so any support you can give as well, helping that new wave, become a member, learn more, inquire within for more, and we'll be happy to respond and engage with you in the new paradigm, literally. Okay. Just want to put that forward. But thank you again, Brother Rubén.
Thank you, brother.
Nothing else I'd rather be doing, my man, than just navigating this with you and our 260 pod, Ishel, Alejandra, all our kin out there. Big up, love, and respect.
Big love.
Yeah, my man.
Everyone.
Everyone, every time.
Yes.
all the time for all that you do to shift the paradigm. We give thanks for you. In Lakesh.
Tune in with the Galactic Spin Podcast and expand your view. Galactic Spin Podcast and expand your view.